before we do this, we'll make sure go through to everybody's on the board. Now, this one is different from the old commission. This is the board that exists in the code to oversee the county clerk as the elections official. Can you hear me okay, Michael?
Yes.
So this board actually has to approve things like expenditures and contracts and such things. And so we got a conundrum, and I'm gonna explain it. Before we start, I guess we need to address any conflicts of interest.
None. Brother, sure.
Other than being here.
I am on Dayton City.
Yeah.
Election.
Yeah, Cheryl's an opposed candidate. So, and truthfully, guys, Michael and Cheryl, I asked you here because I wanted you to kind of be part of our first board meeting. But technically, and in the statute, since this is not a county or state election and it doesn't involve the parties, you really don't even have to be here. But I wanted you to be here just for an organizational purposes. And Cheryl, I know you got a little bit of a conflict with this election because you're on it. So if you want to abstain from voting, that's fine. This is as much informational as it is. I need you to approve a list of names, which is even quite ready yet. So
Okay.
I'm going to stand down here and explain a little bit about what's happening. And Bobby, I'm going to need you in a big, big way. And I thought my Secretary of State will be here. We've had 3 people here from the Secretary of State all week, as Ricky will tell you. They have been poring over our elections office, checking everything. As Pope will attest and Ricky will attest, we've been working night and day to get everything where it needs to be. It's not, but we're close. We're as close as I think we're going to get as we can. Since we got all this 3 weeks ago, it took a while to get us on the computer. They came down to train us and hold our hands through getting voter registration up to date, getting all of our security and our forms and our procedures up to date. They were woefully outdated. So we've had a lot to change. But thankfully, they kind of walked in with their sleeves rolled up and said, no, we're going to help you. So they've been fixing forms. They've been helping us package stuff up. There's some security problems we have. One of them is that the box that the ballots fall into, they're supposed to fall into a special bag that can be sealed up and double locked for transportation purposes. The box they go in has to have double locks, one that's kept by the presiding judge or the election people, the other that's kept by the sheriff's office. The code requires someone from the sheriff's office to escort these ballots from the voting location to us at the counting location for early voting. Early voting. So at the end of early voting, we need somebody to come over there, unlock the cage, watch us put them in or watch us lock them up in the bag, seal it up, and then come with us to bring it to Liberty. And I'm sorry.
Just give us an hour or two notification. We'll get that.
Well, I'm going to write it all down for you, but yeah, we need. And because the elections are going on a Saturday, I think we're going to need some help on that Saturday. We're going to need a security guard for that Saturday. So if we use one of ours or use one of yours, I'm flexible. Constables.
Security guard here at the courthouse, or
I need someone over at the election office to stay with us through the election.
Okay.
So that's the security part, but I didn't realize I had to order special second locks for the bins and the boxes. And I actually ordered the boxes, but they didn't come in time. So Heather Hawthorne is loaning us 17 so we can get through this. Heather Hawthorne's also coming up tomorrow to help with the training. Mm-hmm. People have been bending over backwards to help us get this where it needs to be. Okay. That's actually the good news.
Okay.
I don't think we have any public comment. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the election judges. Well, no, we're not. We're going to talk about the contract first. Catherine's got the contract that was executed with the entities, and we have 13 entities, 12 entities, 14 locations. Okay. We have 12 different entities that have contracted with us, and I'm going to do the best to do it out of my head. Hardin School District, Bezetta School District, Devers School District, City of Ames, City of Liberty, Dayton City and School, City of Kennebec, Cleveland City and School District, and City of Plum Grove. And I hope I didn't miss anybody. I think that's all. Oh, Med District number 10. So those are the ones we're conducting elections for. When we came in, the voting locations were already set and published, and notices were put up. But there's been some problems with those. The first one we found out was that the one in Romare was a church that has been closed down, shuttered. It's no longer open. And so we can't have the election there. So we shut down the Romare location. Yesterday, not just yesterday, for weeks now, I've been trying to find somebody to work the Santa Fe building in Plum Grove. I've got no one, not a zilch, nobody. And I mean, I've called everybody, begged, pleaded, tried to get Cleveland people to go do it. I can't get anyone to work that one. And truthfully, I don't know why it's there. The only thing that lower south of Cleveland group is voting on is Cleveland ISD. And they can go to the Civic Center for early voting. It's not that far out of the way. I mean, I know it'd be lovely and convenient to have it there, but if I can't have 3 people there consistently through the whole early voting, I can't keep it open. So we made the decision 11th hour last night that we cannot do early voting at the Santa Fe Administration Building. So signs are going up, and it's on the website now that location is closed. And I promise you, I don't know if you can tell, but I haven't slept much, and I've been working on this night and day. I can't get anybody to work there. I couldn't find not even one person. If I closed my Cleveland office and sent my 2 people there, I'm still short because I have to have a third to be, state compliant. I don't have it. I just flat don't have it. I mean, Ricky will tell you, I was in tears yesterday at noon. I mean, I just don't know what else to do. I have called everyone I think of. Nobody wants to work that polling place. Nobody. Maybe by the May 6th one, I can find someone to work that poll. But right now, that's an empty slot for May 6th as well. I don't have names for that location. There's 2 problems. Let me see what's this. Okay. These are the contracts that they executed with all the entities. All the entities have gone to their boards or whatever and approved them. We haven't signed them, but there's a reason why. The contracts are between Clint Bush and the entities. He calls himself the contracting officer. Now, interestingly, he's got the Liberty County Elections Board, which is what this is. Which didn't apply to his. So I think he just put his name where, the county clerk used to be and used the contracts that we used to use. But on the signature pages, it says big as life, Clint Bush, elections administrator. I don't think I can sign them. And that's an issue.
Well, I think that just to be clear and on the straight and narrow, I think if you have time, you can prepare new contracts with your name on them, have the entities sign. Though the entities have signed, we haven't signed, so we're not doing anything, right? So I think just going ahead, letting the different entities know you're doing that, preparing new contracts for signatures as quickly as possible. The best way to go. The elections code provides that Commissioners Court does not have to approve these contracts, so we're not bound by any time constraints or notice restraints there.
I thought about attaching the minutes to it and then signing on an extra sheet per the minutes or something. I mean, I've gone through a couple of scenarios in my head. Did Matt ever get on? Matt didn't get on. I'm not, but I know these have to be done on Monday. So I'm going to have to spend some time working on this somewhere, somehow, and fixing this, but I don't know what the fix is, because me signing where his name is or signing for him or pretending I'm him, you see the problem. Okay, so that's one problem, is that these contracts are not, they were never executed completely and they're still hanging out there. Okay, and then I think I got enough lists. These are the names I've got so far. And the way the contracts are written, I'm missing a back sheet. I'm sorry. Anyway. The way the contracts are written is that, okay, let me go back to state law first. State law says only small local political subdivisions, which are schools and cities, that they are supposed to appoint their election judges. They, by these contracts, are giving that authority to the contracting entity that's putting on the election. See, contracting officer will appoint the presiding election judge and alternate judge, et cetera, et cetera. So what we've experienced and what has happened is the people that were on the list, the prior list, have all, not all, there's a handful that are working, there's a handful that have conflicts. It turns out that day, May 6th, is the day of the Pioneer Lunch in Dayton and some other things. So some have conflicts, some have issues, but a big chunk of them just wrote me some really ugly emails and made some very rude phone calls and told me they're not working elections for Liberty County anymore for various reasons, which I'm not going to repeat. So we have to come up with new people. And I have called and called and called. I called my friends, help me find people. And these are the ones I have so far. And I don't think I put on that list, but Ross Ward, Fred Lamont, Lisa Smesney. I've got two more people. Richard Pagese is one of them, and there's one more that I think can do early voting ballot board. None of them have any experience, but we will train them, and they're eager to learn. Courtney Daniel's going to come in and do central counting, and of course, Hope and Adrian will be the other officers on central county. That's the people that work the election part. The Secretary of State people will be here through the whole thing. They're going to handhold us through the whole thing. The Hart guy's on call. He's going to be in Harris County, but he'll run over here if we need him. I think we have that kind of support ready to go. And God bless them, because if they hadn't been here, I'd be in the hospital and we wouldn't be having elections. It's that bad. And Ricky's seen it. He knows what I'm talking about. It's that bad. But they are getting us through this. They're propping us up. They're helping us get it all done. There was a whole lot to fix. I had no idea, but there's been a whole lot to fix. A lot of last minute security stuff to put in place. But I think we're there. We're going to train tomorrow the early voting judges and maybe a couple others. And we'll do another training next week for the day of election workers, which I hope to have fleshed out by then. But as you can see, there's some holes in that list. And again, it's Plum Grove. I've got 2 locations in Plum Grove that I don't have names for. Weirdly enough, we are voting in Tarkington Prairie And Tarkington Prairie and their registered voters have nothing to vote for. Nothing. It's just a vote center that's going to be open for somebody other than a non-Tarkington Prairie person to come in and vote at. I don't know why those were created that way. I can't see that they were ever a possibility for a vote location or having an election, but they didn't say they were going to have one to pull it out. We have just 2 locations in Tarkington Prairie for some reason I cannot comprehend. Anyway, that's where we're at. And if I sound like someone who's been beating their head against the wall, I have been. So, what you got, Sweet?
Okay, I think obviously we've all kind of been drawn into this thing since March 20th in a big way, but I don't think it's something just for anyone's information. It's not something that since we just took it over 320, we've dropped it since 320. This is some issues that have been in place, I think, historically.
Yeah.
And now we have 3 by the book Secretary of State people on board, and they're looking at what's this, and so I'm not saying that, oh, y'all just dropped the ball since March 20th. I think they're really looking in and saying there's some issues in here that have been here. And so it's not like this all just blew up on March 20th. I think there's, things that, not saying they weren't doing anything, but I think if we hadn't taken over, I think some of these same things would still be apparent, but maybe not be brought out and the election would go on. But because I don't think anybody would, it's kind of like, unless you ask them to come in and look at it, we're not, and they're not coming in and doing an audit. They're not writing this up. They're basically saying, we're here to help you get through this deal. They're not trying to, oh, y'all did this wrong, and they're very clear about that. But they also said, we can't do any of this. All we can do is bring you to the deal and point this out and try to fix it. So my ladies, I know, are getting real intense training that's going to benefit them the rest of the year. Unfortunately, right now, we're just trying to help get it up to date so that Lee can update her poll books and get the things that's been kind of building up from the voter registration side and get that done. But it's given us some real intense training. I mean, we got the number 2 person, Secretary of State said, yeah, y'all need something. So they sent 3 people from Austin during the busiest time of their deal. So that shows how critical this thing is. Fortunately, it's a small municipal type election, but to them, there's no small election. Every election is, it's got to be done by the book. Mm-hmm. And you can't do this until you do this. And we're just running out of time now. A lot of the issues that Lee's dealing with are things that if she would have been in charge of it 6 months ago, you would have been ready for it. And a lot of these people have just vacated. So maybe they were ready to fill in these deals, but because of some issues going on, they just kind of walked away from it. But I really don't think some of these things would have been fixed anyway. I think we just would have had the election, things would have gone on. And so I think we're actually doing a deep clean of it. That's going to benefit us greatly in 2024 when we have all eyes and we have 25 to 30,000 people voting. So I think we're going to be way ahead and ready for it. Right now, we're just kind of dealing with some issues that would need to be cleaned up. And to me, if we as a board have to make these decisions and support what Lee's doing, I think she's got a great handle on it because she's got 3 people from the state in her ear telling her exactly what we need to do. And to me, as close as we can do to doing those things, we ought to be, getting there, whatever it takes to do it. And then I think we will, as a result of that, we'll be way ahead for the primary in March of 2024.
If I could interrupt just a minute, Mr. Chambers. I appreciate you and all the effort that you're doing. And I know it's probably wearing you out, but resources kind of help? And I know this in the political race, the cities and schools and everything, but have you called on maybe Mr. Michael Morris and Cheryl Lawson to help? Maybe they have some volunteers that.
Well, Cheryl can't because she's on the ballot.
Okay.
So bless her heart, I would love to pull Cheryl in, but she's on the ballot.
Actually,
I'm talking about, do they have resources? They have people that they could call that would do it to help their training for when the political elections come around.
I've already submitted.
Okay, Michael may have somebody.
Yeah, Tracy and Richard I talked to, and they did give me some names, and I have worked those people into it.
Good.
It's just been a challenge, but the way we're looking at it is we're building for next year. So all of these people that we're recruiting, we're hoping that we will train them. They're going to enjoy the experience, and that they will be people that we can use going on in the future.
Good.
It's just odd that an election this small, we're opening up every voting location. I don't know who made that choice. I don't think it's a choice I would have made. We've had to close 2. The Romare one, like I said, the building is no longer even functioning. And we couldn't find another location that could cover, but it's fine. The Pine Grove one, there's just no workers available. I'm hoping maybe by Saturday, but for early voting, it's just not an option. But we have the 4 regular early voting locations, and they're fully they're fully packed. They have people. Yeah, they have sufficient people. We actually have 4 people assigned each one. So if one gets sick, another will cover it. We've got that. The other ones we're still trying to fill out, but we should have the rest of those lists shortly. There's just a lot of new procedures that we have to put in place by law. And we're being directed by that, like I said, by the Secretary of State. Heather's coming in, Broadfoot and all to help us train and do this right. We're getting a lot of help and guidance, thank goodness. A lot of, a lot of assistance people are, but I do want you guys to know, I mean, I've been working night and day. Hope's been working night and day. She didn't have to, but she is. Ricky's guys stayed till 8-something last night trying to get all these voter registration stuff straightened up. These people from the Secretary of State, they get here at 8 and they leave at 8. They've been working 12 hours straight. We bring them lunch. People are putting in a tremendous amount of overtime to clean up the not quite functioning entity that we inherited.
Yeah.
And it was a little shocking to me that it was where it was. And we can address that sometime in the future.
But I also think it supports what action we took previously, even though it was kind of at the last minute. But again, it was wise to at least get ahead. I think it was stands for itself.
What we did needed to be done because there was no direction happening there.
You're not going to hear any objections.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can see where I've got problems. I've got unexecuted contracts. I've got missing poll workers. We've got poor security features and forms. I mean, just simple forms that were executed incorrectly or outdated or wrong or.
So what do we as a board, do we take that action, or do we authorize you to proceed with the advice of counsel? I mean, to me, we're listening, but
I'm really just updating you. What I need you to do is to try to vote on my early voting people and approve that list. That's the main ones there. Obviously, the other ones aren't all there, and I might need to get you to just have a quickie to approve those real quick, probably next week or early the week before that. We just need them for May 6th, the ones at the bottom. We don't have all of those in place yet. I'm still trying like crazy to get people to sign up for those places.
So you're just looking for a motion
to approve early voting. Yeah. And well, hang on, because I got to get up here and put it in the computer. But do y'all have any other questions about where we are and what's going on?
Yeah.
Bobby, I need your help.
Yeah.
I need your help. Ricky's been helping. This lady back here. is you have no idea what a resource and what a precious person you've got working for you.
I do too.
She has gone over and above. We're going to be paying her a lot of overtime. Adrian too. Adrian's been up there on his day off after hours. My staff has been stepping up like crazy. People have really been stepping up, doing their job and coming in and helping us. And we've needed it. And it's not just hey, let's all hang out here and eat, drink Cokes. And they're working their tail off.
I just have one question.
Mm-hmm.
So in the past, should we have had security to transfer the ballots from the polling places to the courthouse? Or, with past elections, once the polling place is closed, should there have been escorts?
Yes, there should have been double locks with the sheriff holding the second key, and there should have been there's got to be a form where every person that touches everything has to sign off a date and time, a chain of custody thing, and there has to be security involved when we transport or move anything ballot related. Yes.
Because I just want to point out that is not something that wasn't done just since the election administration office was placed.
Right.
We have never
done it.
Have never had security to transport our ballots from the place of election to the place of counting. So I just, want that to be understood. That it's not
not a new thing.
Yeah, it's not something that just lacks in security with the initiation of the election administration office. We have never done that.
Yeah. And I can tell you that was part of my comment. This is not something that just happened overnight. And I wasn't even alluding to that this started on 2020. I think when I was voter registered for years ago, a lot of the things that I'm doing now, I wasn't doing then. So when you have somebody who's there with this is how you should do it, it's kind of like an audit of, hey, we're auditing your operations. And of course, now it was under the EA, but I think you could go back and say a lot of these things they inherited as well. So I mean, I wasn't pointing out that it was just happened, but we've never had someone from the state come in and just pick you apart on it. It's kind of like we'll come if you need us, or if there's a complaint. But look, like now, since we're here, we're not going to be part of something that's not 100% done the right way. So I think it's kind of a buildup over the years. Clearly, it didn't happen just in the last cycle. So
the judges understood that they were not, once they left the polling place, they were not to make any stops between the polling place to dropping the ballots off, but there has never been a security transfer.
And there was nobody receiving it under lock and key as well. So, and again,
we have to treat it like evidence, basically. We have to have chain of custody. We have to have 2 people with keys. We have to have double locks, the whole 9 yards. Otherwise, those ballots have to sit for 60 days, and guess who doesn't get to count them or check them or look at them, It's complicated, but I think with the help of Heather and the help of the Secretary of State, we're going to have procedures and help with Bobby. We will have procedures in place to cover it and make it work right.
And what we don't get to this cycle, we will by the 2024. And I think that's just something we know this is to do if we don't get it done.
Right. We've got a couple of practice runs to get through. And just FYI, I've got the positions posted. And I've had someone apply for the elections director job who is perfect. I think she's kind of perfect. So I feel like we're going to have an elections director pretty darn soon after this election. And then we can start building that office and getting things back and getting our volunteer, getting everything back to where it needs to be to run efficiently. It's just that in this 3 weeks, it's been a challenge. Yeah. And we've learned a lot about, the things that we should be doing that we weren't doing. And people have stepped up like crazy. Hope has done amazing things. Ricky's guys have done amazing things. The Secretary of State people have been extraordinary. I don't know what I would have done if they hadn't come in and helped me. I mean, they really are my angels at this point. So, and I'm hanging on by a thread, but I'm hanging on because of them. So, but we're still working. We're still going to keep it going. We're going to get through this election, learn our lessons, and make it right for the future. And that's all I can say about that. But I do want you to approve this list.
I so moved.
Ms. Chambers is back in her chair. Do you want to make your motion?
Yes, I so moved that we approve the list of election workers for the May 6th, 2023 city and school elections.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we got a motion and second further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Cheryl, you're going to abstain.
I'm not used to saying that good.
I mean, Michael, was that an aye?
No, if that's
Thank you, bud. Appreciate it.
recommended, I don't.
Yeah, just to be able to say.
Yeah, it's and like I said, technically, I didn't need to bring you guys in because it's the party related, and the statute says for a non-party, elections, you just need the board.
It's good to hear and assess what's going on because again,
and
something
that
we got to do to get ready.
that's what that was my main goal, is for you to understand. Oh my gosh, what's happening and what we're facing and the changes we're going to have to make, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm glad you're here. I know, but since you're a post candidate on the ballot, I'm going to ask you to stay. So,
Okay.
all right, that's all we need to be adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Second, got it. All clear, yeah. I'm not glad. Let's go.
Bobby, you second.
Yes.
Okay.